on the computer it says it's showtime. I don't know. It shows 5:59 on mine, but it says showtime at the same time. Who knows? Well, anyway, guys, what's going on? And welcome to Vinny's Corner, special primetime episode. Obviously, with a little bit of a focus on boxing in the beginning, fights, UFC. We have the return of Jon Jones, and we also have the return of Iron Mike Tyson. And then, of course, we'll be jumping into our regular stuff with Cove's questions. And we do have an NFL game going on live right now as we speak. So there are some things to talk about. Pretty awesome. I just want to get over to the We Like Sports. I want to make sure I get that shared. The live stream is on now. So let me get this out. Check us out if you have time. Okay. Boom. Let me post that and shoot it out to everybody. So, guys, we're live on all major, Facebook, YouTube, and X, on all major socials. So, as everybody knows, everybody who follows me at least, I'm a big boxing fan. I'm pretty excited about tomorrow night, excuse me. It's the return of Iron Mike Tyson. Now, Tyson is a 58-year-old man. He's just turned 58, actually, so it's pretty exciting. It's a little weird, right? So some people remember Iron Mike Tyson as the guy who couldn't get it back together, who bit Evander Holyfield's ear, who kind of fell apart. He lost his biggest fights, right? Some people remember him from the mid to late 80s when he was an absolute killer and just knocking out anyone in the ring. This is not that guy, though, right? This is a more humbled, older, just a different guy than that young dude from Brownsville 30, 40 years ago. So it's going to be interesting to see. By the way, I see you got a little mustache coming in there, buddy. I like it. Very sharp, very sharp. So what do you think, Cove? Does Mike have a chance?
Mike got a chance, but I don't know. I don't believe in the hype in this fight. I see what they're trying to sell, but I see Jake Paul winning the decision. You already heard me say that. I want Mike to win. But every fight Jake Paul gets involved with a named boxer from our past, Jake always wins. It's always by decision.
So listen, I don't know. Okay, so Jake Paul's got some knockouts, okay? So
I'm not doubting the guy. I'm just saying every major fight with a major name, he just always decision.
So here's the thing. I don't think this fight will go the distance. Definitely not. But I also don't think that Mike Tyson at 58, as much as he's training, honestly, I don't think he can go bet the house. My God. What's up, Jay? Yo, my man Jay says bet the house. Jake smashes. Now, listen. That's what a lot of people think. If you've seen Tyson, he's in shape for an older guy. But again, he's got 30-something years on Jake Paul.
Yeah.
Jake Paul's a big dude. He's physically imposing. Let me see if I can get so they do the ceremonial weights. Let me see if my guy Boxing Barbecue's got him posted on his page. He usually has all that stuff up. Oh, Jesus Christ. No, he's got a picture of Mike Tyson in Versace tighties grabbing his jock.
Yeah.
But Tyson's got it really stoked up now, right? So just at the final face-off, Tyson slapped the shit out of Jake. Jake got real fired up afterwards. He's getting in his face. But now I think he understands what he's dealing with, right? When Mike gets into a boxing ring, he's not going to be this cool, older, chill guy who smokes weed. He's going to be an animal, right? He's going to be a complete killer. If he can catch this guy in 2, 3, 4 rounds, he'll win the fight. But I think that Jake Paul is stronger than a lot of people give him credit for.
He is.
And then, bro, he's big. If he was, I'm little. If he was sitting next to me, I'm 5'9", 175. He would make me look like a little nothing. He's a big dude. He's got almost 50 pounds on me. So he's not a small guy by any means, and he's going to have reach. He's going to have height advantage on Tyson. So if he boxes like a smart boxer, there's no reason he shouldn't win. Now, of course, a lot of people are like, well, it's scripted anyway. Tyson's going to take a Tyson's going to take a fall. I don't know. It could be, it could not be. You know, Jake has been very big about, you know, he's now like, he's not ranked. So let's not get this twisted, but he's not just a YouTube boxer. Like, he's a professional boxer fighting in an exhibition fight. That's what he is, right? So this isn't like being sanctioned by the WBC, the WBO, the WBA, or the IBF, but it's still dope. If you grew up, like I'm an 80s, 90s kid, like super stoked to see my guy, Iron Mike. And Mike's like, yo, Jay, actually, if you're watching, Jay, I'm curious, what is Mike right now? Plus 2,000? Like, Mike is really an underdog in this fight. I think, if I'm not mistaken, hold on, let me just go to BetMGM and let's look, right? Because I want to say that Mike is actually the underdog, and he should be, right? He's 58. And, you know, Jake Paul's undefeated for what it's worth. Now, he hasn't fought any real boxing competition, but just the same. Okay, let me see what we got here. So it's not. Actually, no, it's way closer than I thought. Mike Tyson's only plus 165. So, you know, I think it was like a little – I feel like I thought it was a lot worse, but it's not that bad. Jake Paul is still a fairly heavy favorite. It's going to be exciting to watch, though, either way, right? So if you're really into boxing, and I know, like, some of you guys out there follow me because, like, I'm on boxing. You know, I'm not really a boxing Twitter guy. I'm just like I'm a chill dude. You know, I mess with a lot of the other sports guys, and I like to talk boxing too, right? So I kind of have a little bit of a different perspective. And if you're not getting all that heavy boxing stuff on your feed, what you're able to do is just check out Vince's page, and you can usually see what's going on. So there is a guy named Shushu Carrington fighting on this card, the Brownsville Bully. He's from the same neighborhood as Iron Mike. He's a small guy, but he's a bad dude. He's going to be a pretty exciting fight on the undercard. Not to mention, you got Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano 2, which is like, that's huge. You know what I mean? Like, to be perfectly honest, that's a huge fight. It's their second fight. These are two of like the greatest female boxers of all time. And I mean, that's the fight I'm most excited to watch. I love Amanda Serrano. She's a Puerto Rican chick, raised in New York. She's awesome. For me, that's the fight to see. And then you also got Mario Barrios putting his belt on the line against Abel Ramos. So there are two title fights, like real deal sanctioned, legit boxing before the Tyson-Jake Paul fight. And of course, it's free, right? If you got Netflix, I get Netflix for free with my phone. Like, T-Mobile gives it to me, right? So this is like free for me. But if you have Netflix already, why wouldn't you tune in? Why wouldn't you want to check out Iron Mike Tyson returning to the ring? Simple as that. So now, listen, I don't want to kill you guys with just Mike Tyson stuff for an hour, right? I love Mike, but there's another big bad mofo jumping back into the cage this weekend, not the ring. And that is also a super, super exciting return to the sport from a little hiatus. Jon Jones is putting it on the line. He's going against Stipe Miocic, who's like by many considered the greatest heavyweight, that there's been. So that is also like a really, really exciting one. And on that same fight card, you got Charles Oliveira and Mike Chandler fighting before that, which is going to be a great match. And then you got the return of Chris Weidman. So like for folks who are really into MMA, Chris Weidman is the guy who beat Anderson Silva and took his belt like back in the day. Okay. So Friday night, you got an awesome boxing card headlined by Iron Mike fucking Tyson. I love that. And then Saturday, you got another card in the ring, UFC style, in the cage, UFC style, being headlined by Jon Jones. And if you guys have been watching the press conferences this week, John's just been causing a stir, right? Because Tom Aspinall is going to be there. But he's already been very clear. If he wins this fight, when he wins this fight, let's say, he wants a legacy fight. He wants to fight against Potan, as they call him, Alex Pereira, who's one of, if not the baddest dude out there right now. He's a light heavyweight. They're not quite the same size. Alex would be into it, but Dana White says that the only fight in the UFC he'll give him is Tom Aspinall. So, if you're into UFC, if you're into boxing, guys, feel free to chime in. I'm here for it. I love to hear about it. And on that note, what we do want to do is jump into our kind of regularly weekly stuff. We like to talk a little NHL, MLB, and of course, we got an NFL game on primetime right now, which, what better way to jump into the NFL than talking about the game that's on right now? So we got the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles, right? The Washington Commanders are actually up 7-0 right now, which I think is kind of awesome. What are your thoughts, man? What do you think about these guys? They've had kind of an interesting run this year, right?
Oh, very interesting run, especially with a rookie quarterback. We really haven't seen stuff like this since like RG3, right? And it's not really, and I know there's a lot of people that don't have a hate against saying Redskins because they were the Redskins at one point. We can't ignore the history of it. So when RG3 played, he played for the Redskins. This is the Commanders. Like, this kid is making the Commanders his team and his legacy.
Listen, I love Jaden. I'll tell you, he's my favorite. This is kind of wild to say. I'm a Giants fan, but like the person I'm most excited to watch play football each week, like I have the game on in the background right now. It's Jaden Daniels, right? Like he's just super exciting. Like I've had nothing but fun watching him this season. He's progressed week in and week out. Even in a loss, he looks awesome. He guy's completing like 70% of his passes, and so that kind of leads me right into your first question there. What impact do you think that Eagles home advantage will have on this game against the Commanders? Big and not, right? So if you've been to the East Coast, right, from the Washington Commanders area, like the DC area-ish, right, to Philly is not a far trip. I imagine that there's a good amount. And I mean, if you look at the stands, you can see there are a lot of Commanders fans there, So I don't think that field advantage is really too big of a deal tonight. Very similar weather, very similar area. And a lot of Washington fans are there. So for me, that's not really a big one. Now, I do want to just kind of take a tangent here for a second. You said something about the name being the Redskins in the past. So somebody brought up what teams, another guy from one of our chats, guy Al, had brought up what teams should go back to the logos they had. So I'm kind of curious. What do you think about this? Like, I know a lot of people preferred the Redskins to the Commanders. What I was saying straight up, the Cleveland Indians, all the way back St. John's, the Redmen, and the Redskins, I think all of them should go back. It was kind of deemed as like a slight or like disrespectful, this and that. I think it's actually like a huge kind of sign of like love. Like, we're naming our team after you. People just didn't like exactly how, but like the name Indians, like Cowboys and Indians, right? Like, I mean, it's just kind of a common name. I don't know. Like, is it like a big thing, like for like Native Americans? You know what? My wife's Native American. I could probably ask her. But is it really like a big thing? Like, do they take a slight to those names, or like, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, neither of us belong to the group to speak on that behalf, but I've seen Native Americans, Aboriginals that are for it. So, I mean, if they were against it, they'd be all against it. But there's a large group that would like the name to be back. They loved it.
I mean, I think the same thing. Like, Washington Redskins was an awesome name. It was a great logo, and it's a story. It's a great team. So I was just curious. I don't want to kill people with being too opinionated on the show, because I don't really know. And different people take their personal history different.
Yeah.
All right. So what do we got for the second question tonight, Cove?
Oh, I'm prepared now.
If you want.
Yeah, I did not have it up. Because usually you ask me the question, so I didn't have it up this time. It'll take me a second. But yes, no, the Eagle. What you were asking though, to side question for a second, is that like the Eagles' advantage. It's Eagles play good at home. That was the one thing that you have. That would be their advantage. If their crowd's in it, which they are this season, then yeah, it should be a problem for the Eagles to beat the Commanders at home in a close game. But what you were asking there is, given the Steelers struggles, but the way I wrote it, but this one is between Wilson and and the quarterback, he's fucking doing. Wilson's actually doing pretty amazing in the Steelers organization right now. I mean, do you put Fields back in or do you keep Wilson? So how critical is this game for their playoff hopes against the Ravens?
Well, so all right, now listen, I want to touch on a couple of things real quick, right? Because when we touch back on that Eagles piece, here's what's interesting with the Eagles, right? They have all the talent in the world. I feel like the only thing holding the Eagles back right now is Coach Sirianni. He's just been making a lot. He makes some bizarre calls. He didn't go for a 40-yard field goal. He went for 3 extra points when they were ahead 22-0. And then he didn't go for 2 40-yard field goals. Like, they could have been up 31, 32, whatever it was, and instead of doing that, he doesn't. Then at the end of the game, he goes for a 58-yard field goal that gives the other team position with the ball, with inside their 50-yard line. Doesn't really make sense to me. I divulge. So now the thing with the Steelers, okay, so last weekend, right, they were able to catch a rookie from Illinois, I believe, actually. I forget his name off the top of my head, but the D lineman, they got him on a 4th and 1 play or 4th and inches, whatever, where they pretended, basically Russell kind of faked it. He balked, if you will, and he got the guy to jump off sides. They got the first down as a result and were able to sew that game up, right? That's a veteran play. So I just don't know that a guy like Justin Fields is going to get that done the same way. You know what I mean? At this point, what were you going to say?
I understand what you mean by that. Yeah.
So, here's my thing. I feel like at this point, it looks like, Russell was kind of Hollywood for a little bit there in the Seahawks. He was just doing a lot of weird stuff. He had his own office. He was not being one of the guys for a while. And then he went to the Broncos, and it just – things were not right, The program was not right for him. He was trying to run it.
Sean Payton, because Sean Payton is just a different type of leader, right? It changed Russell's game a little bit.
Well, and so here's what I think. A coach like Mike Tomlin's, he's a great coach, right? We're seeing that now. There's a reason why his teams always, they're not up and down, right? They're always winning, right? They're not always. He hasn't had a playoff win or a good playoff run in quite some time, but he's one of the best coaches out there. He has been for a long time. I feel like there had to be a certain buy-in from Russ in going into the Steelers. It's not gonna be, Mr. Amazing. This whole ultra personality he was putting out there for a while, right? It was if you're gonna come into this team, you're gonna rein it in. It's gonna be about football. It's not gonna be about Russell. And this is it. This is your shot. How many more shots are you going to get? Right. And reality is he might not have gotten another chance. So I think he bought in. I think that it's showing, right? He's one of the guys in that locker room. He's not his own thing. He's doing great with Tomlin. At this point, I don't see any reason to. And I don't think that they're going to go back the Fields way anytime soon. It's great to have Fields there as an option as a backup, but I don't think there's any reason for them to switch off of Russell. And this game this weekend, they're a legitimate team. I think that's already proven. They're going to the playoffs. I'm pretty sure, unless they bomb out the end of the season, they're going to be there.
Would this affect them getting a better, home field?
Well, so here's the thing. This game could be the game that decides who wins the AFC North.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's critical for them to play a certain level. Here's the thing, right? They're going up against, they're arguably the best defense. They're definitely the best special teams. and they're going against probably the most effective, high-powered offense in the league right now. So it's going to be, a match of styles, but it's like a perfect match, I think, to see who's going to conquer that division. The Bengals are out of it, right? The Bengals have like 3 or 4 wins on the season, and they're all to losing teams. Unfortunate. They're great. They have some great guys on the team, but they're not going anywhere. So it's going to be between, and obviously the Cleveland Browns, as you know, are where they are. So, it's going to be between those two teams. What's really important, I think, is first just making sure that they both play good enough, and they have all season to make sure that one team gets one team obviously wins the division and the other team does get a wild card. But who gets that division, right? The AFC North is one of the best, if not the best. This is like arguably the biggest and best football rivalry like in the NFL to a lot of people.
So to many people, should say. To many people would.
To me, it's obviously the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles, but what can I say? No, but legitimately, right? This is they're 2 of the most storied franchises. They just have epic battles, and that's a really gritty division. So, I think it's really important for both teams to win either way at this point. They're in that time in the season where they both want to make sure they make it to the playoffs, right? At the end of the day. And so that kind of leads us right into your next question, right? So what we got here?
How do you expect the Bengals offense to match up against the Chargers defense? And who will be the player?
So I think this is an interesting one, right? Because Joe, Jamar, that offense can score a lot of points, right? We've already seen that. They do it week in and week out. They lose games by close margins, which is unfortunate. The Chargers have been shaping up all season to be one of the best defenses in the league under John Harbaugh. They're like a top 3, top 4 defense in the league right now. So it's tough to say. I give the edge to the Chargers because I think that their defense can ultimately okay, so what happened last week, right? The Bengals scored 34 points against a defense that was not good, and they still lost because their offense gave up 5 touchdowns. So if the Chargers defense, which is way better, can kind of rein that in, keep them down to, say, like a 21 to 28-point game, it's going to be on Herbert, right? It's going to be on Herbert and the gang. I think the Chargers could pull this off, but if Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow, it's hard to say, Jamar Chase might have 4 touchdowns and 300 yards next week or this weekend. You never know.
Yeah, you really don't know what's going to happen. But I expect the Chargers to take this game because the Bengals are actually surprised. I'm surprised with the Bengals being this bad this year.
I really thought they were going to be good. I thought Joe Burrow was going to be in the MVP conversation.
About his wrist. That's 70%.
Well, remember, right? They were talking about how he might never throw the same, but he's looked fantastic. He's scoring a lot, but okay, so where Lamar has the ability to play so well that he can actually almost cover up, you don't even notice how bad Baltimore's defense has played this season because Lamar and Derrick Henry are just playing out of their minds football, right? So in Kansas City, right, Pat Mahomes is not playing his best football, but the defense is playing their best football, right? So one side of the ball wills the other side to win in a lot of these cases. Joe is playing fantastic football, but he's not moving over the line, right? All these completions, all these touchdowns, all these yards, they're like filler stats. They don't mean anything when you're not winning games.
No, we never do.
So I don't know. That's a tough one. But as I was just saying, the Chiefs' defense has been top-notch this season, and I think that plays – what's up with the milky – I forgot the coffee. So guys, real quick for my man Cove here, if you see above his name, it says Milky Biscuits. So Cove's got his own company coffee, Coffee Company, excuse me. And if you wanted to try some, like, Cove, you want to give your plug?
Yeah, if you want to try any coffee, it's called Milky Biscuits Coffee. It's just 40 different kinds of coffee that you can sip on, basically. I mean, I'm a fan of all coffee. Like, if you love coffee, you love coffee, right?
I'm drinking caffeine right now. It's 6:30 at night. I'm drinking, but I just had dinner, so like I like coffee after dinner. That's my,
Yeah,
that's, I mean, listen, it's not caffeine doesn't, when you're in your 40s, caffeine doesn't keep you up at night. Doesn't matter. When it's time to go to sleep, it's time to go to sleep. So, right? That's really, like, I drink it. It helps to settle my stomach down after a big dinner. Yeah. Relaxes me. Yeah, it doesn't get me worked up. It relaxes me. So I can agree to that. All right.
But quickly say it, like we have Bali stuff, Indian coffee, we have whiskey coffee, we don't just have your regular coffee. You have what I mean, like 40 different kinds. There's 40 different kinds. Like, I got dark chocolate, I got hazelnut, I got vanilla, every kind of flavor. You name it.
I like it. So, guys, if you're into coffee, and you follow Cove, or if you don't follow Cove, you should start at Tailgate Cove on X, right? You can actually see, I think you got a link in your profile now, right? So you can buy Milky Biscuits coffee. Check it out. Right? So now I was just talking a little bit about how the Chiefs defense has been the side who they've just overshadowed what's not going right on the offensive side of the ball, right? Just dominant. They shut teams out. Like, they'll give up some points in the first half and then just shut you out in the second half completely. Just dominant.
I think the Bills can prevail this time, though. I think that can happen. For some reason, I can see KC going down this weekend.
A lot of people. Okay, so first, here's the thing, right? Obviously, I listen to other people's shows. One thing people say, they're like, well, I don't know if they should go undefeated, that's like winning the Super Bowl twice. Like,
undefeated does not matter to their legacy.
I just lost Cove there for a second. Give me a second. He'll be right back, hopefully. Well, so my point, for those that are listening, right? If you can go undefeated and on top of that win a Super Bowl, then you absolutely should, right? There you are.
Yeah. So, as I was saying, like, it doesn't really matter. You can go, this team can go 16-0, this team can go 15-1, this 14-2, doesn't matter.
17 games now.
Okay, 17, sorry. But still, it could be 17-0, but still, it does not matter, because if they don't win the Super Bowl, why does it matter?
Well, that's the thing, right? So some people say that, like, it's too much, that they need to take an L to put things into perspective so they can go three-peat in the Super Bowl. I'm like, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. Playoff, like, so if the defense can shut it down during this part of the season and just get Pat to the playoffs in a 1 seed, playoff Pat he's got a whole nother gear, right? Doesn't matter. He could look regular now. Playoffs, he's going to bring all the smoke that everybody wants. No question about it. Kelsey's going to suddenly start catching touchdowns everywhere. It's going to be like a whole new thing, So, like, to doubt the Chiefs at this point, ridiculous, I think they can do it. But so you say the Bills are going to win. Now, a lot of people have been saying that. This is the best version of Josh Allen that we've seen. Why is that? Are his stats that much better this year?
He's consistent. That's the biggest thing about Josh Allen, his consistency. He knows his team. He loves his team. This is his team. I think this is the year the Bills can do it. Like, it's just really do.
And so here's the question, right? So
you look at the
Josh
played each other that really mattered, where the KC beat them. It's because they gave him 13 seconds to go for them to tie it up.
Okay, so so here's what we got. Josh has thrown for 2,281 yards so far this season. He's got 17 touchdowns to only 4 interceptions. Now, his QBR is 70.3. Right? That ratio, 17 to 4, usually Josh has a ton of turnovers, right? A lot of interceptions. So he's reined that in. Now, here's the interesting stat. In the regular season, Josh Allen and the Bills in their time together are 3-1 against the Chiefs in the regular season.
Yeah.
But in the playoffs, Pat Mahomes is 3-0 against the Bills and Josh Allen.
Yeah.
So, again, does it matter if they win right now? Here's the way I look at it. The reason why it matters, if nothing else, is to decide that who gets the 1 seed, who gets the 2 seed.
Right.
And let's be honest, if, they're so worried about that 1 and 2 seed, and all of a sudden the winner of the AFC North comes through and steals it. So, it's not even a guarantee at this point.
No, never is.
You know what I mean? I'm excited though. So there are a lot of really good, we got the Commanders and the Eagles game on right now. It's almost halftime. It's still 7-0 the Commanders, right? Which is awesome. I love that. Love seeing Jaden doing well, man. I wish he was a Giant, but who knows? Now we got the Chiefs and the Bills, another huge game this weekend. And then, we already talked about the Steelers-Ravens game. And then the last one, that's kind of like an in-state rivalry, but I expect to see a shellacking in this game, right?
You expect it, but this could be the Cowboys' win. I don't know.
Well, okay, so who's starting QB this week? Is it Cooper Rush?
No, it's Rush. It's Rush.
He threw for 45 yards last week.
Yeah, but I mean, that's because you had Dak, and then Dak got injured and blah, blah, blah. Ironically, this Dallas team fell apart after he gets $60 million. Now he's gone for the season.
Well, basically, right? Jerry secured about $100 million a year for a receiver and quarterback duo, right? That's a massive hit to the cap space.
Yeah.
And now the team can't do anything. So now they're in a position where they're not performing, right? No. Dak's hurt. Here's what I think. Honestly, I don't know how they get rid of Dak, but I feel like they need to get rid of everyone on that team except for Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb and just rebuild the whole team.
Get rid of Jerry.
Well, everyone knows you got to get rid of Jerry, right? I hope my boy Reggie's listening to this. Reggie, you got to get rid of Jerry Jones, right? How do we do that? Thing is that the only way Jerry's leaving is if Jerry dies, right? Jerry's not giving up the Cowboys. But, what would it take to get him to relinquish his role as not just owner, but GM? There's no reason he should be in the GM role at this point. That's what doesn't make sense. Whatever. You want to be the owner, you want to make the money, do that. The business side, we get it. But go out and hire a young, good GM. He doesn't have to be young, but hire a solid GM who can build you a championship team. Simple as that. So you think that Cooper Rush can lead this Dallas Cowboys team to a win over the Texans? You're saying that on record for the public to hear.
I've seen crazier shit happen.
Okay. Must be some good coffee you're drinking over there, man.
Oh, yeah. It's real good coffee. I mean, I wrote the questions. It was just a wild thought. What if the Cowboys do win? It's, what does that say?
Well, listen, the Texans do have another gear that they can play to. They haven't looked like that Texans team this year. We're seeing a bit of a sophomore slump, I guess you can call it, out of Stroud. I do think Stroud is really that dude. I don't think this is anything major.
He is that dude.
I just, he's got some stuff he's got to work on. And this week is a great week where they can work out the kinks, I feel like. I feel like the Texans should roll.
It's a good rookie game for him, really. I mean, the way the Cowboys are playing, it's like a rookie role for him.
That's that's the kind of week this should be. That's how I see it, at least, right?
Cowboys could sneak. Cowboys got a great kicker. That's the thing. So if you can get him in field goal range, he can kick a ton of field goals. Keep it interesting, and then win by a field goal. It's not an outright win by Dallas, but it's a win is a win.
Yo, seriously, Cowboys. If Texans allow themselves right? Did you see the game that I watched last week? If the Texans allow themselves to be beat by that Cowboys team by a field goal, they should win the game by 3 touchdowns. Realistically.
They should.
They really should. Now, we don't know what's going to happen. We never do, but I don't know. Listen, to me, that seems a little crazy. On that note, let's turn it over to the National Basketball Association. It's that time of year. I do love my basketball. Unfortunately, my Knicks have not looked as good as I would like, which is fine. It's going to happen once in a while. We're about a 500 team right now. But really what the story is.
Really surprised your Knicks are 500.
All right. Well, listen, man, I don't be a hater. Yeah, I'm surprised.
A hater. Okay? I'm saying they are a 500 team.
Well, okay, listen, we're actually 5-6, so we're below 500 actually. If I'm being honest, if I'm being completely honest, we're about a 450 team. Okay.
What I love for it is Knicks got that passion. It's just your team's always a 500 team, but you act like you're the number one.
Listen, we were not a 500 team last season. We have expectations. We believe we can be another 2 seed, maybe a 1 seed, and it's early in the season. But I'm going to leave my Knicks alone for a second because there's better stuff to talk about in basketball. The Cavs are now 13-0, right? Yeah. That makes them the number 4 best start all time. There were 2 15-0 starts, and then there was one 24-0 start, right?
Yeah, they were 6 right now, right? 6.
No, now when they were 11. They were 11. So when you look this up, they were 11-0. They were 6. Now they're the. So 2 teams had a 15-0 start, right? So technically they're tied for second, but you would call this the 4th best start all time, right? I don't personally think they're going to break through 20-0. I don't even know if they make it to 15. I'm actually pulling up their schedule right now because I'm curious. So let's see what we got here. 2024. What is this? What? Oh, here we go. Okay, so they got the. Oh, okay. Well, you know what? They might make it. They got the Bulls next. There's no reason they shouldn't beat the Bulls. Then after the Bulls, they've got the Hornets. The Hornets are 4-7. Okay, so they're gonna probably make it to 15-0. But that 16th game, they're gonna be at Boston on the 19th. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that they get to 15-0, and then they lose on the 19th to the Celtics in the Boston Garden. That's just my opinion. I think that Boston's a tough team. They have not had as perfect a start. Now, the question, I guess, is what do you attribute to this amazing start that they've had? Like, what has it been like?
Chemistry. I mean, they found their chemistry. It's just one thing teams have to do is find a chemistry with each other. Like, this was a talented team last year that got to the playoffs. I mean, you can't.
I like this team a lot, actually. Like the players, there are some players I really like on this team.
Yeah, and like I said, they figure out how to play with each other, and they're having fun.
I'm glad Donovan Mitchell decided to stay there, or didn't want to leave or anything. So it's just a couple of really that whole starting front line. I like LeVert, Karis LeVert. Jarrett Allen's a good center. I do like him. He's had 10.7 rebounds a game, which is nice. He's doing real well. But I also really like, the 3-pack. Donnie Mitchell, right? Darius Garland and Evan Mobley. Like, that's a really good, the power guard, the power forward, and the shooting guard. That's a really good front court. I like that a lot. Mm-hmm. I'm into that. And I think that we're seeing the chemistry. You're right. They've really kind of switched gears. Been awesome to see. I'll be honest, I'm still a hater. You're Cleveland, not New York. I hope you lose. But I do think that they'll at least get to 15-0.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Now, looking at the West a little bit, the Warriors have been pretty interesting this season. It looks like you had a question here about the Warriors, right?
Yeah.
So what do we got?
Every time.
I like to throw things off.
Okay. How do you see the Warriors adjusting their strategy now that Stephen Curry is back in the lineup?
Well, I mean, okay, so how many games was he out for?
Not many, but I mean, we haven't played that many games either. Remember, we only played 13 games, so it's not that deep in the season.
I know. I'm pulling up their stats right now. The stat line for the season so far. So they're 9-2. Okay, 9-2 so far this season. Let's get their roster. Let's get their stats up. Forget the roster. We know what the roster is. So listen, Steph Curry's got, so Steph only missed one game. Okay, so he's been there for most of it.
Yeah.
Or no, I'm sorry. Excuse me. He missed 3 games.
Yeah.
He missed 3 games. He was there for 8 games, but he missed 3. But they still have Wiggins. They have Kuminga. Steph's such a leader. I think that, I don't think you really change anything, right? I think that that's one of the things, the guys know where they fit in place with Steph on the court. And, when you have a guy, he comes off like a real nice guy, this and that, but he's ultra competitive. When you have a guy that's that good and that competitive, but who knows how to dish the ball around, you just give him the rock and let him do what he's going to do, right? And the team kind of knows how to fit in with him at this point. So I don't think they really have to worry about it too much. I think it's only going to make them better. I do think that they're going to end up being the team who wins the West. I feel like they're gonna go off again, kind of all season sort of thing, and Steph wants one more before he goes. I don't know that they win everything, but I do think that Steph will win the West with this squad behind him.
Oh, Steph's going to.
Technical difficulties, guys. My co-host Cove will be right back. So with that being said, something else that I noticed as a 41-year-old man, why is this about to be 40 in December? There he is. So real quick, Cove, I was just touching on as an older guy, 41's not older, but in the West, right, we've seen, I think in his last 3 games, LeBron James has had triple doubles, boom, 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 boom. He's just going off. How is the guy is 39 years old. He turns 40 next month. How is he playing at such a high level? It's just impressive to see.
He's pushed himself and conditioned himself to be that good.
All that, they say he spends like $1 million a year on his body. And that's not on liposuction and stuff. So, you know what I mean? I get it.
Look at that. Look at you. You're 41 and you're in great shape because you put in the work to get that body that you have right now. So LeBron's the same way. He just has the more money and more availability to be able to do it at a long term.
That's a fact. And, I don't want to stay on LeBron too long because I do not believe the Lakers are going anywhere this season. But, listen, this has been an awesome season so far. Let's jump right to question 3. It looks like we're still in the West. These guys have looked awesome, actually.
So, was it in the light of the Chet Holmgren's injury, who do you think needs to step up for the Thunder to maintain their strong performance?
That's a good question, right? So they're in first place right now, right? Let's see here. I believe they're in first. Let me get a look here. Schedule standings. There we go. Right, I think they're in first, and the Warriors are in second. The Thunder. Okay, so listen, it's one of these things. That's a tough question to answer. I mean, to be honest, okay, a hip fracture, right? Okay, so that's 8 to 10 weeks. That's pretty tough. Who is their backup power forward? That's a great question. Let's look at the depth chart. Damn. That's really okay. So they got Aaron Wiggins starting now. So that's who stepped up, right? That's who's gonna. Now I don't really know that much about Wiggins statistically. Kind of interested to see. I mean, he's a contributor. He's a contributor. I don't, he's not going to do what Chet's doing for sure, but I mean, he's contributing like 10 points a game. Assists. So I think that they'll be able to hold it together, right? They still have a really strong core, and they've got Shai kind of leading the charge. So here's what I do think. I think that not having Chet for 10 weeks is what's going to cause them to fall from first place. They might end up in like a fourth or fifth for a while, but I think by the end of the season, they'll still end up in that top three once Chet's back and healthy. Again, they got Shai. Shai is a stud, and they've got, just as an overall squad, they're playing real solid ball. So I can't really talk anything too much to like what will or won't happen, but obviously not having Chet's going to be a big issue. But I think the team is strong enough to keep it together. Depends, right? All right. So I'll read this one out here so you don't got to get flustered too often. So what's on the Celtics' ability to perform under pressure, especially with their recent close games? That's an interesting one. I think it's early in the season. They're doing good. They could obviously be doing better. They're 10-3 at this point, so it's not like they're like falling behind anything. But listen, I think that a guy like Jaylen Brown, right? I think Tatum's awesome too, but a guy like Jaylen Brown, I think that he just responds extremely well to pressure. I think he's felt it a lot. I think a lot of people don't give him the credit he deserves, and he's kind of that unsaid leader on that team. I don't question, like in my mind, the Celtics are going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals this year. I don't think it's like an if. I think it's going to happen. Jason Tatum's averaging 30 points a game right now, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Like he's playing out of his mind. And then you have Jaylen Brown behind him. Obviously Jaylen missed a few games, but that whole team together, Pritchard, Holiday. I mean, you got Al Horford came back, right? Derek White. They play really good together. They responded extremely well to all the criticism last season, and they just rolled through the playoffs. So I don't think it's going to be a matter of pressure so much, but right. So here's what everyone said about them. Well, it was a cakewalk. Everyone was injured, blah, 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 blah. Like that's a sport, right? They didn't, it's not their fault that other people got injured. You can't take anything away from them.
Never can.
Yeah, but what's it going to look like in the playoffs when they run into healthy teams? That's the question, right? And so we can't really answer that at this point. It's too early in the season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Doesn't Cove look like he's about to go? He looks like he's about to go shovel snow.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm in Canada. It's always cold. But, yeah, so how do you think the Suns will cope with Kevin Durant's absence? And who will they need to take on a larger role in his stead?
And that's, dude, you got like the best questions. Like you make me have to like actually like, I really have to think a lot with some of these questions. I'm like, I got to pull up the information in front of me here as usual. I'm getting the Suns up right now. Okay. Let's see here. What do we got? Injuries. Now, what are you saying? Okay, November 9th, Durant suffered a left calf strain. I mean, listen, the team's a little hurt right now. Brady Beal's out. Durant's out. Grayson Allen's day-to-day. Nurkic is day-to-day. It's going to have an effect on them. They just have to make sure they don't – like right now, they're second in their Pacific Division, right? They just have to make sure they within striking distance until everybody's healthy. But, it's only a calf strain. I don't expect Durant to miss too much time, but it depends, The guy's had some injuries before. He's a little bit older, so it could end up taking longer than we expect. I don't know. But like I said, they have a few injuries right now, a few guys playing a little bit hurt. I think what's most important for them is that they just have to stay within striking distance. Stay around that bubble 4 or 5 position, right? They may not stay in that second position, but when everybody gets healthy, just keep it moving forward like nothing happened, right? That's all it comes down to. What do you think?
The Suns are going to be fine with or without him for a little bit. They know how to do it. They know they got the team, the chemistry to fix it. If he's out a couple games, fine. A couple weeks, fine. I think the Suns will be just fine without him for the time being.
You know, it would be really cool to see the Suns and the Warriors go deep into the Western playoff side of things, right? The Western postseason. That would be interesting. I would love to see a face-off between KD and Steph Curry at this point in their careers. That would be exciting to me. You know, no question about that. I think the East is going to win it all, though, this year, too. I'll be honest.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Listen, the Celtics, the way that I think right now, it's the Celtics to lose, right? They're a complete team. They're playing awesome basketball. They're a very solid team. They're very good at defense. They're very good offensively. I don't care that there's a team out there that's 13-0. I don't care that Steph's looked out of his mind. I think it's the Celtics' time right now.
Yeah.
You know, so that's just how I see it. That's all I got for NBA. I'm pretty excited, though, about the NHL side of things, and I know you love your hockey.
Yeah.
So, you know, what we got going on in the hockey side of the world?
So what do you think has been the key factor behind the Jets' surprising offensive success this season? And it's Scheifele showing up as a leader, and he's scoring well. And Hellebuck is playing the best hockey he can play. The tandem in Winnipeg is what's giving them success because you can rely on both goalies to win the game.
Yo, they're 15-2.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that was their record. I was just pulling up the information as you're saying it, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
And you know what? Okay, so right, you got Scheifele, right? Now you know who you didn't even name, who is like Kyle Connor. Like they've just got so many pieces right now. And
they've been a solid team for the last few years, and now they're finally clicking. Florida's done it. Edmonton's finally done it. Like teams they've kept their core together, and now they're playing together.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it looks like it. And I'm trying to. Hold on. Why am I? Oh, there it is. Goaltending. This is what I always love to look at, right? And so Hellebuck's playing hella hockey right now, right? And his backup Comrie's 3-0 when he started too.
Yeah.
Now, listen, when a guy like Hellebuck's playing with a less than 2 goals against goal average, like, you know, as they say in hockey, the guy is a stone wall. I mean, he's playing lights out, you know? So when you have a situation like that, it's, you know, they've got the perfect storm right now. I mean, it's the easiest way to say it, right? Like they're a complete squad. Everybody they need to be is doing everything they need to be doing it. And like, they're just firing on all cylinders. When you have guys who are scoring like these guys are, and then you've got a goalie who's just not letting anything through. I mean, recipe for success, right?
Oh yeah. Always. When you got a good tandem back there, it's great. It's fantastic. You look at all the great teams that have won, it's because of who their tendy was.
That's a fact.
I mean, and their defense. Nothing against the defense, guys who play defense. Their defense is great too.
Who is there? I just started. You know what? Who's on their defense? Is Morrissey defense?
Oh, I gotta pull up. I don't have their.
You know what? I had just switched over to Carolina.
I mean, they lost to Tampa tonight, so I'll look at this tonight.
Hey, listen, it happens.
Oh no, it happens. Tampa is a good team, But where is game info?
Just popped a pimple on air. Yo, well, listen, I'm already on Carolina. Don't even stress it.
Yeah.
So, and, that's it. Really, okay. So this is another question. This is an interesting one, right?
Yeah. How do you rate Jack Rosalick's impact on the Hurricanes compared to their other offensive players?
Well, okay. So, what line is he? He's line 2. He's the center for line 2.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you have the second line putting up goals like that, right? He's got 9 goals himself. Right. Martin Nuke's got 5. Robinson's got 5. The second line is producing just as much as the first line. When you can go from your first line to your second line and not miss a hiccup, right? From Nikas, from guys like Aho straight. Well, Aho's kind of slow this year, but right into Roslovic and he's just tearing it up. I mean, it's exactly why Carolina looks as good as they do. You know what I mean? Like, they're one of the best teams in the league. Huh?
Carolina is a solid team.
I mean, listen, as well as I do, they're going to go deep in the playoffs. Well, actually, you know what? Let me hold my tongue on that. They may not go deep in the playoffs. They may fall out in the first. It's tough. That the East is really stacked, So, I mean, well, not really stacked, but
not really. But Carolina has been consistently good the last 5-6 seasons. So
I could see Carolina and the Rangers facing off again this year. I wouldn't be surprised by that at all.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, they've got 3 goalies.
Well,
right?
See, you got some veterans there. You have Brett Burns, who's been around for a long time. He's played with a lot of great players. And you have Shea Ghostabear. Like, those 2 guys right there alone have a lot of veteran experience.
Listen, I mean, the offense, they're doing really good on offense. They look strong. You know what I mean? What I think what's kind of like, for me, what stood out a little bit, I think their defense has been really solid too. And I mean, I guess it's not like a surprise or anything, but Orlov's been awesome this season.
Slavin's good.
Orlov, Slavin, that combination when they're on the ice together, they're mean. You know what I mean? Like I like that a lot. Chatfield's played well.
Yeah.
And so and when you have strong defenders in front of strong goaltending, like Kochetkov has been good. Anderson's 3-1. Kochetkov 8-2. But between the 2 of them, so Kochetkov's, his goals against is 2.5. Anderson's is 1.5. You know what I mean? Like when those guys are out there, you know how it is in hockey. If they can keep you under 3 goals, there's a pretty strong chance that you're going to lose, right? And so these guys are playing really solid hockey. I see them going straight into the playoffs just like last year. I'm just hoping this time around the Rangers get by them. That's how I see it. So
going into the next one is, do you believe Sam Reinhart can consistently compete for the Rocket Richard? Or is this just a hot streak because he's got 12 goals, 12 assists in 16 games?
Sam Reinhart is a stud.
I mean, he helped.
Period. Point blank. He's a big reason offensively that they rolled through the playoffs last year, right? Yeah. So what we're seeing this season is a carryover from the end of last season and the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I think this is just him starting to show the consistent high level of offense that he has and brings to the table. I don't think it's just a streak. He might slow down a little bit. 12 and 12 is a little outrageous.
Yeah, but do you see him breaking 50? 50, really?
I mean, in 82 games, depending, if he stays healthy, I don't see why not.
I mean, it was a stretch for Matthews to hit 60 last year. So,
listen, I think that points-wise, I think that
like, he's a good 40-goal scorer, but I don't see him being a 50-goal scorer.
I mean, listen, this could be that season.
He does it. It'd be great.
This could be that season. I mean, like,
yeah,
he's on pace for a 100-point season easily right now.
Yeah, but Ovechkin's done this time and time again, and he's going for the record this year, and he's gotten 50 only a handful of times. So,
listen, I get your point. I see what you're saying. 12-12 in 16 games and 15 games, whatever it is. It's a hot streak, but it's built off of consistency coming off the back end of last season in the playoffs.
No, I know. I just don't see him. I don't see him now. Like before, it used to be like Rocket Richard used to be like score 50 goals, automatically get it. But now it's Rocket Richard goes the leading scorer, and I just can't see Sam Reinhart being the leading scorer.
I don't know that he's going to be the leading scorer. Yeah. Like we got some guys out there. Like this season's looking like we might have a couple of guys who put up some serious numbers, right? So it's not impossible. It's definitely not impossible.
But I'd say only like 5 guys might get over 100 points.
Who do you think those 5 guys are going to be?
Oh, it's going to be McDavid for sure. Fuck.
What about McKinnon?
I don't feel love for Crosby to get 100, but he can get 100 if he wants to.
He's good enough to, but he's old, he's weathered. I don't know that I see him getting that.
Kucherov for sure.
Kucherov's a good one. That's a really good one.
You got Kucherov. You got Connor McDavid. Draisaitl would probably throw up another hundo.
No, Draisaitl's awesome.
Yes,
I love that guy.
Matthews for sure. Matthews can do 100, and probably Jack Hughes.
Okay, Jack Hughes. That's a good one. I didn't even, Jack slipped my mind. I'll be honest. And he's awesome.
Yeah.
It looks like tonight's a big hockey night too, right? So just real quick actually interesting here. I didn't know this. And obviously this is a part of their tally for the season, but the Jets lost. The Jets got smoked out today, actually.
Yeah, I said the Jets lost tonight by Tampa.
Yeah, and Tampa brought it to them pretty hard.
Hey, the Panthers, Reinhardt, they just got smoked by the Devils 6-2.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. Where are my Islanders? My Islanders playing right now?
They might have played. I don't know.
Let me look. Let me look at I shouldn't even do this to myself.
Oh, they're playing
publicly.
Vancouver tonight. They're playing Vancouver tonight, and they're 6-6-4.
Oh, okay. We got Vancouver, and it's a West Coast game, so I'll be able to watch that too. That's going to start right after this, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So, you know who else got or is getting smoked? The Stars are killing Boston right now, 5-1.
Yes. Oh yeah, I see that one. But
yeah, that's a rough one. That's a rough one for Boston. I love to see it. Boston, what's going on? What's going on in Boston? So now I think you had another question coming up about the Rangers. So why don't we dive into that?
Oh, yes. How crucial is Willie Carlisle's development for the Rangers' playoff aspirations this season?
Okay, so I think that's kind of an interesting one. I don't think so for they're going to go to the playoffs, right? That team's defense is lights out. Shesterkin's playing, amazing hockey. Offensively, Panarin's got 22 points already on the season, 10 goals, 12 assists. The team is in a solid place.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of like that's more of like he could be like that extra piece when the playoffs come that kind of like tips them. That might be like the straw that breaks Carolina's back kind of thing, So I think he'll be important for them later down the line. Right now, I think they're just playing really good hockey. The Rangers are the Rangers. They're a really solid squad right now. As a team, right? Fox on defense, he's been great. He's also got 12 assists, which is awesome. Here's the thing, right? Will's got 11 points, right? He's got 5 goals. He's got 6 assists.
Yes.
So if he can pick that up, if he can become a heavier producer, right?
Well, the reason why I was bringing him up because he's only 22 years old. He's only a rookie, right?
He's a young guy, right? And when Panarin comes off the ice and he steps onto the ice, if the team is not losing any offensive power because he's brought it up to that next level, right? If he can get to like a Panarin level by playoff time, that makes that'll just make this team extremely dangerous, and again, I think that could be what puts them over the hump, right? So it's pretty exciting to see. I love to see younger players that are just doing awesome. And he's got good people. When he's on the ice, he's on Trocic's line, right? So you got him, you got Riley Smith out there together. That's a pretty good squad. That's a pretty good front three, right? I don't know that. And then, you've got Kreider, right? So like when you've got guys like, right, he's a left wing, right? Just like Panarin, just like Kreider. So he's got some really amazing examples in front of him, and I'm sure that they're pushing him every day. If he can just get up to that same level of production, and right now it doesn't really seem too far off. I think I don't know about just their playoff aspiration. I think that could be the piece that brings them to that deep playoff run that they're looking to make. That could be that extra guy they need to get past the Panthers, to get past the Canes, right? Carolina, the Canes. But it's tough to say at this point. I'm an Islanders fan, so I focus on them more, but it's hard to not pay attention, especially as a New York guy. It's hard to not pay attention to the Rangers. They're just playing great hockey right now. I love to see it. So I know there was one more question we had before we get out of here today, and, I like this one. So what do we got here, Cove?
At 39, how impressive is Alex Ovechkin's scoring pace? And what does it mean for the Capitals' chances this year?
All right. So now what I got to do here, let me just pull up his numbers because I don't know them offhand. I'm not going to lie.
He's 10-9, 10 goals, 9 assists in 15 games.
So he's got 19 points already on the season. I mean, he's scoring at a pretty high pace, Listen, when you got a guy like Strome putting out those assists like that, right? It's hard to not believe that he can keep up. It's just going to be like, is he conditioned enough to just run with them through the season? And it's Ovechkin. We know he's conditioned enough to do it. So it hugely impacts their chances this season. I think, they need that. My question, I guess, for the team, and I bring this question, because I'm a shit talker. And so this is why I bring the question because, right, they've got Logan Thompson, former VGK. He's playing lights out hockey. He's got 7 wins, 2.7 goals a game he's letting up. So not amazing, but pretty amazing. But really, when Thompson's not playing and Thompson only plays half the time, Lindgren's going to be the problem.
Yeah.
Right? So what's going to matter, I think, for this team, I think that their offense is definitely high-powered enough, to make a run. But what can the defense do? What's Carlson going to do? What's Sandin going to do? How are these guys going to respond when Lindgren's on the ice and it's not Thompson behind them and they need to shut it down? Right? So that's where I think the question really comes from. To me, it's more of a defensive question. We know who Ovechkin is. Ovechkin's going to put up 40 goals this season, maybe more. I think he might be able to. This might be the season. I think he can tie that. And in his mind, he wants to tie that record or break it this year. You know that, so he's just going to keep going extremely hard. You know what I mean? Which is exciting for hockey. I love that. Imagine seeing Gretzky's record get broke. His 20-year record get broke in the 20th season, or his 20th season record get broke in the 20th season of Ovechkin playing hockey. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, potentially because of those efforts, leading this team into the playoffs, right? They're 10-4 right now. That's a real deal. They're competing.
Yeah.
No other way to say it, right?
The only thing is if you didn't know, this is how crazy this is, and it would be so much better in Ovechkin if Ovechkin played more playoffs. But the thing is the record is 1,116 goals for a career, because that's Gretzky's record in career goals for playoffs and regular season. So he's only chasing the regular season one. He's so far off from the total goals.
Well, yeah, if you include Gretzky's playoffs, and Gretzky was a demon in the playoffs, right? We were young and we got to see that. You know what I mean? That record may never get broke. The regular season record is what we're going to see.
Oh, sorry, 1,016. So Gretzky has 120 goals in the playoffs.
He's a savage. He's just, the guy's name is the Great One for a reason, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So, I think that it definitely improves their chances, to answer your question. Here's what's tough, right? They're in the Metropolitan Division. Being in the Metropolitan Division means that they have to, they're only so right now you've got the Rangers, the Hurricanes, and the Devils all ahead of them, right? But they're tied with the Rangers, right? Yeah. So if it comes down to it and it's Rangers or the Capitals, my money's on the Rangers every time, because the Rangers defense and the Rangers goaltending is just superior. Mm-hmm. So, it improves their chances a lot, but he's going to have to do something pretty phenomenal, or the Rangers are going to have to fall off for the Capitals to get there, right?
Yes.
It's the only way it's pretty much the only way you can say it.
Yeah. But if he can get him into the playoffs, he can probably try to go for his, actual fucking the record himself, most goals ever scored. But he has to get in the playoffs.
Listen, it'll be quite a feat. So, all right, guys, it's that time of day. I just want to thank everybody who came out. Looks like we had a lot of views today. My man Jay, check out Jay's Final Take on X. That's my guy. He's got some great bets, great tail. I've made a lot of money off of him. Appreciate you for that, my brother. And I'll just leave you guys with this. It looks like the Eagles are in scoring position. I think the score is still 10-3. Okay. Yeah, I think it's still 10-3, the Commanders, right? We'll see what happens. It's 4th and 6th on the 13 right now. So, can the Commanders hold on? Can the Commanders push this game forward and go ahead and knock the Eagles down and take that first place position firmly? Be interesting to see.
Mm-hmm. But I'm going to look at the actual 1 second here before we leave. I'm just, it's taking me a second here. Get the actual numbers so we're not going, oh, this is a guess. So Ovechkin has plus 72 equals 935 career goals already with playoffs.
Okay, so he needs almost, what's that, 80-something goals?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, 1,016 subtract 935. Can't do the math in my head. 81 goals. He needs
Okay,
81 more goals to
okay,
pass
so
Gretzky.
he can potentially break the regular season record
Yeah.
this year, and
Yes.
the all-time goals record he'll need another season for.
Yeah, he'll need one more season. But that's crazy though, because we've now witnessed two guys who have scored more than 900 goals in their career.
You know, it's kind of crazy because, right, like hockey, like when we were younger, hockey, I feel like they score a lot more now,
Yes.
right? Like hockey games used to be like three, you'd see like a 4 game, but now it's like it's very frequent where you'll see like 8-4, like, a team just going off, and scoring tons of goals.
Yeah.
So it's an amazing thing. And I think that a part of us getting to see this a second time in our lifetime is just the shift in the offensive power of hockey players. You know what I mean? It's fantastic.
Oh yeah. But like you said, 2 900 goal scorers in our career, in our life.
Now, assume that a couple of more studs, and there are plenty of them already in the league, but some of these guys choose to play or are healthy enough to play 18, 19, 20 seasons. We may see this record, we may see 900,000 goal scorers 2 or 3 more times in our lifetimes.
I think McDavid would be the only one in our probably lifetime we'll probably see do it in our lifetime.
That'll be awesome, though. I mean, three in a lifetime. That's wicked, man. That would be awesome.
I mean, unless you can pull up Yager's stats, because Yager probably has a stupid stat on this too.
But listen, Yager's
I don't think Yager scored more than 900 though career though.
Yeah. Hold on. How many goals? How many goals does Yager have? Let's see what we get here. Okay, so now this includes the Czech League, the NHL, the Czech League, the KHL, international competition. He's played everywhere. So technically, when you combine professional and international games, he's the record holder with 1,099 goals.
Oh, fuck.
But he's also been playing for almost our entire lifetime. Right? Like, I'm 41. This guy's been playing hockey since I was 4. Yeah. Like, that's he's about to be on 4 decades of professional athlete. That's not like he's not even real. He's like the Terminator in hockey skills.
No, but what's his record for NHL
though? His NHL record. Let's see. So in the NHL, actually, unfortunately, he never broke 900 in the NHL. He got to 844 goals in the NHL.
There you go.
Yeah, so like a tremendous effort. He had 24 seasons in the NHL. It's amazing, you know what I mean? But unfortunately,
was that regular season goals though?
This is just, hold on, let me see. Jaromir Jagr, how many goals? Well, I just typed in how many goals does he have. I'll write playoff and regular season. Okay, hold on.
Because that's how Ovechkin broke 900 was playoffs.
Oh my God. Okay. This can't be real. Okay. Whoa. Okay, so Jaromir Jagr's total goals scored, including the playoffs, he's got 1,733 goals. What? Yo.
Who bolstered that stat for fucking Jagr?
Okay. So I don't know. This can't be accurate. It can't be.
No.
It can't be. Of course, listen. Hold on. There's no way. Hold on. There's no. Hold on.
1,177 goals? But there's no way it's 1,700.
Okay, listen. No, hold on. No. Okay, here we go. I got it. He's got 78 goals in the playoffs.
Okay.
I don't know. So you know that Google AI overview,
Yeah.
it brought that up, and so here's what that did. It combined his total points. So he's got 1,733 points. But
Okay.
yeah. But I mean, listen, like
Okay. But it says 844 regular season and playoff goals.
yeah, so 766 regular season goals, and then 78 more playoff goals.
Okay.
So so the 800 number was his total goals.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, listen, the guy is unbelievable. I mean, there's really I can't take the guy's played in 208 games in the playoffs in his career.
Yeah.
But again, he's also literally almost been playing professional hockey for 4 decades.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
It's not even real. All right. But all right, listen, guys, I appreciate your time. I'm really happy that everybody came out. Definitely tune in tomorrow to the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight. I'll definitely have some commentary coming through live on X. And tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern time, if I'm not mistaken, am I correct, Cove?
What?
You're going to be hosting a space tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm hosting a space at noon Eastern tomorrow.
So my guy Cove is going to be hosting a space tomorrow. I'm going to check in there as well. So if you guys are interested in more of the banter that we got coming for you, check out Cove's space as well tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, depending on which coast you're on. And again, guys, thank you for showing up tonight, even though there was a professional football game on. Legendary. Thanks, guys. And we'll see you next week here on Vinny's Corner. Yo, when I try and end stream, it doesn't let me. So I'm still